No rush.
Finishing up, okay, when we talked about our friend that was talking about his son being a defensive defenseman, and is it going to actually matter? Yeah, young defenseman and stuff like that is going to matter. Is it going to matter? Like, they don't look for that kind of stuff. Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, it does matter. See, the thing is as you said earlier, is like, it's when you're young, and I'll use a defensive forward, defensive whatever, just someone that's not the flashy guy. I would say, yeah, you need to just, encourage your kid to, don't take what he's not and beat them up on it. Take what they're very good at and enhance it. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So obviously, if a kid could score a ton of goals, that's what minor hockey looks at, right? You're a star. If you're a minor hockey star, you're getting points.
Minor hockey, though.
Yeah, minor hockey. That's what I'm saying. But I would encourage, like, someone that is not a points guy, he's a defenseman. So, and I told him this before. I said, this is great. Work on 3 things. To work on learning how to gap. Like, focus on this because no one else is doing it, right? No one else is doing it. Learn how to make that first pass or getting it out of your zone every single time. Like, that's what you focus on, and work on having a good stick so no one ever scores on you. And then you add boxing out, add whatever, and you be the best at it. And if you're the best at that young and you continue doing that all the way up, and this guy's a pretty big guy, his kid's probably going to be, the kid's a pretty big boy, he's probably going to be like a really good defensive player. And that doesn't mean that you can't work on skating and stick handling and shooting, because in fact, as you get better and older, that might translate into a little bit more offense. But, if you look at the world of hockey, everybody, like you said the other day, everybody wants to look at being the superstar. But do you want to be a superstar or do you want to be a hockey player? Most of you aren't going to be a superstar. So someone that's a defensive, like, isn't a natural point getter, the little things in hockey that aren't getting all the glory all the time are going to be the things that actually are going to be your benefit as a 15, 16, 17, 25-year-old, 30-year-old. That's what's actually going to be what they need. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yep.
So work on your mobility, still work on your skating and shooting and stuff like that, but work on your defensive side, your mobility, not getting scored on, and your value will go through the roof at some point.
Yeah, so that point that I made the other day, I forgot that I said that, actually. I want to touch on that again.
Yeah.
People, this is the question that most kids need to answer for themselves.
Yeah.
Is, do you want to be a hockey player, or do you want the prestige, glory, and notoriety that comes with being a superstar? So if I could offer you, hey, do you want to be LeBron James or do you want to play in the NHL? If your answer is, I'd rather be LeBron James, then you don't want to be a hocky player.
Yeah, you just want to be a superstar.
You just want to be a superstar, right? You just want to be, and that's not a perfect analogy, but that's the idea, right? So if I'll offer you be like the fame and fortune piece, which is something that everyone thinks they want, or I'm offering you the thing you're saying you want. You're saying you want to be a hockey player. So is it you want to be a hockey player, or is it that you want to be a superstar? Because those aren't the same thing.
And if it's the superstar thing, then probably don't even go.
well, and this is what I'm questioning the motivation now, right? So if you want to be a hockey player, then there's a lot of ways to be a hockey player. It doesn't. You don't have to be Connor McDavid. Yeah. But if what you want is to be Connor McDavid because he's a superstar, well, that's not the same as wanting to be a hockey player necessarily.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So there's a lot of things you can do, because most of the guys that play in the NHL are not Connor McDavid, obviously. Yeah. But they know how to play the game properly. They know how to live the lifestyle of a hockey player. They know how to do the things that it takes to play that sport professionally. So if that's your framing, I want to be a hockey player, just ask yourself that question. If you're mom and dad, you can ask that kid your kid that question too. Yeah. So when you, like, Bud, when you want to say you want to be a hockey player, what do you mean? Like, why do you want to be a hockey player? What part of it?
Yeah.
It's like, well, they get to do interviews and they drive cool cars and they have nice houses and all that stuff. It's like, okay, well, that doesn't have a lot to do with hockey.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Why do you want to be a hockey player? And that's what you can start to do, because if they say they want to be a hockey player for the right reason, now you can start to learn the game, because it's about actually playing the game properly. Because you say this all the time, it doesn't become hockey until you're 16, 17, 18, you're playing junior and you're in a system and it's a business now and all. That's when it becomes how hockey is in real life.
Yeah.
You know, minor hockey is just a fun thing to develop. Yeah. You know, so use this as a tool to start to learn the game properly. That can be your motivator. It shouldn't be that you want to be the sexy superstar. That's not what the motivation should be.
Yeah.
You know, and if you end up landing and being one of the superstars, that's awesome. Great.
Shoot for it.
Yeah,
But if you love hockey, then what happens is when you go to your first year of junior where you got drafted, maybe you got 50 goals the year before in midget, you go to junior and they say, okay, we need you to penalty kill, and you're on a fourth line. You don't sit there and say, well, I'm done.
Yeah.
You go, oh, okay, I'll kill penalty because it's an important part of hockey. That's where you have to understand hockey.
Yeah.
So